Social media has become a part of our life. We post, we share, we like, we follow, we unfollow, we subscribe. This video takes a look at the toxic cycles encouraged and promoted by influencer culture, especially on social media such as Instagram. There are several different ways to market your brand, your product, and yourself on Instagram. The way goods and services are advertised is the most essential aspect in creating your loyal consumer because it convinces individuals that their want is actually a need. One might argue that consumerism has always been a part of human nature, but we now actually consume twice as much as we did before the introduction of social media. This urges the question in me, why? Sut Jolly describes advertising as something that pushes us constantly toward the market and consumer goods to satisfy our needs for love, friendship, and autonomy.
I think that if anyone wants to understand our culture and our society, they'd better come to terms with the role and power of commercial images.
It's no wonder the people love ABC Tire Center.
From ancient phrases etched in stone to today's cutting-edge multimedia commercials, selling has always meant grabbing attention. And what is easier than doing it through platforms that are always accessible? Over the last few years, social media has completely changed the internet, especially in the ways of advertising. We see something on Instagram, Facebook, Reddit, or Twitter, and it definitely leaves an impression. I need the new iPhone. I need the newest Yeezys. I need to watch all 4 seasons of Hannah Montana, and you know what? I need Disney Plus for that. Consumerism, it seems, is no less than any other cult or religion. Satisfaction that we found from organized religion is now found through other consumeristic activities. Consumerism renders all of us into a homogeneous mass of constant buying and spending and collecting. It's like religion, inspired by a higher power of control. And who is this higher power of control? Advertising companies, celebrity spokespersons, movies, and TV shows. But most importantly, influencers. Instagram users who have established credibility and an audience who can persuade others by virtue of their trustworthiness. If Bretman Rock says that this mascara is worth the bucks, I'll believe him. He has 13 million followers. Of course I'll believe him. Arguably, the higher power are the global corporations that rule the economy. Advertising is their propaganda to keep the production and consumption cycles spinning forward. No demand, no supply, no consumption, no production. Capitalism needs all of us to keep consuming, and advertising helps make that happen. Influencers' feeds are saturated with posts that are disguised from advertising. The influencer's literal purpose of life is to influence us into adopting the same desired lifestyle as a celebrity, but for cheaper. They normalize the idea that outfit repeating is a cardinal sin. This is the main issue, normalization. It has become normal to boast about monthly shopping hauls. It has become normal to never wear an outfit again or throw it out because you've posted a photo in it or you were seen wearing it in public. While influencer marketing is a valid and efficient form of advertisement, one serious perspective that seems to go unnoticed is how influencer culture promotes unsustainability and unethical consumption. There will be 3 major subtopics that will be focused on through this breakdown analysis on the effects of influencer culture and why it is harmful to not just the users of social media, but also the influencers themselves, the society, and the environment that we live in. An influencer is someone who's a media star that isn't exactly an A-list celebrity by conventional standards, but they inspire a cult-like following amongst their fans, and then they often use this to their fame to build an entire empire, just like the modern religion. Money is the ultimate power that defines social class, privilege, and just the overall comfort of life. Influencers support the behavior of consumers by endorsing prestigious products, urging them to spend more on the things they don't even need. Glossier is a popular makeup brand in the beauty market. It's a strong example of the lengths brands can go to for a cult-like following and how their entire brand identity depends on their followers. In 2014, Glossier was launched online with only 4 products, and in just 5 years, it has grown into a cult status, multi-million-dollar business. Glossier's success is no secret sauce hidden away in vaults. It's pillared on 2 things: social media and branding. Glossier's advertising technique attracts the younger demographic perfectly. Glossier's personality is like the millennial who uses their products. No ultra-expensive photo shoots with supermodels, but only iPhone photos. Images of diverse people, the minimal makeup looks, and dewy skin, the millennial voice, all together has built the brand Glossier. A brand that has such a loyal following base that followers post their products without even being asked to advertise. They just want to be a part of the aesthetic that Glossier has built. Instagram played the vital role in building Glossier and its cult status, and influencers kept it alive by constantly promoting it and creating a large following. Glossier is just one of the many brands whose entire brand identity depends on their social media, especially as a startup company on just social media. Influencers who are already celebrities, such as Kylie Jenner, use their already cult-like following to launch their own products and brands, like Kylie Cosmetics. Influencer advertising has definitely led to a new era of digital creation, but it is also the era of unreal beauty standards. Instagram has slowly transposed from being a place for personal family vacation photos into a cesspool of big businesses instead. This is done so subtly by Instagram influencers through product placements and endorsements that it's difficult to differentiate a genuine post from an advertisement. The rise of female influencers has hallmarked a digitalized version of the era where a woman's worth is predicted through her appearance. Women have absorbed the idea that the ideal standard for beauty is portrayed on popular Instagram pages, especially through celebrities with a large following based solely on their appearances. Kylie Jenner's Instagram account is a collection of just steamy images, so many of which are product placements disguised as an outfit photo or a regular update. But even though we know that the standards are unreal and the entire purpose of the microcelebrity is to portray how amazing their life is, we are still sucked into their realm. We scroll and scroll, like, repost, and repeat constantly. We are addicted to social media and we don't even know it. This affects everyone: the influencers because they need to constantly upkeep their status, and the users because they're constantly comparing themselves to influencers. The mental health issues that are caused by the dependency on social media range from depression, anxiety, low self-esteem, and sometimes even leads to suicidal tendencies. Casually, an Instagram influencer appeared in the doctors and spoke about how stressful and unrealistic it was trying to upkeep a perfect life for her followers on Instagram.
This photo was in Bali, right? It's Ubud, you see the rice fields, so beautiful. But instead of me going outside and actually enjoying being in Bali, I was inside so that the light could hit the rice fields just at the right time, right? Which took hours. And the water was freezing cold. We had to keep refilling it with warm water. The bubbles kept disappearing. I was trying to make this photo of this really fun, oh, I'm in Bali, I'm doing self-care week. It's so relaxing. It's like a spa day. That picture was anything but a spa day. It was so stressful, and it took hours to get.
Tell us exactly then what you did.
Well, I did take a big IG break earlier this year, but now I use social media. It doesn't use me.
Here's the truth. From the smallest daily action like scrolling while we're brushing our teeth, right up to the big actions like how we might ignore our spouse while we're posting, Instagram is changing our everyday behavior. It's found a way inside every detail and routine in our lives. We are addicted. We are dependent. Casually even went as far as to admit that when she didn't get enough likes or comments, it would actually feel like a stab in the gut for her. It made her feel worthless, empty, and alone, almost suicidal. Almost everything in our world that is addictive or has a negative side effect comes with a warning. Things like cigarettes, alcohol, gambling, over-the-counter medicine, and prescription pills come with labels that inform you of the dangers associated with compulsive or excessive use. But social media does not. Social media is addictive, yet it comes with no warning.
In 1985, we discovered the existence of a huge hole in the ozone layer. The activities of humans are changing the very makeup of the Earth. 1,700 of the world's leading scientists, including a majority of Nobel laureates in the sciences, recently issued this appeal. Human beings and the natural world are on a collision course. If not checked, many of our current practices may so alter the living world that it will be unable to sustain life in the manner we know.
Have you ever seen a bomber jacket on Instagram and thought, I just need to have that? Imagine being a part of destroying the environment just because you couldn't resist buying a Nicki Minaj inspired bomber jacket. Sounds unreal, right? It isn't. The crave for fashion and urge to be like celebrities around us is driving us towards environmental catastrophe. The energy-intensive extraction of raw materials to the pollution of fresh water and greenhouse gas emissions created as we manufacture, transport, and dispose of all the things we consume is a big reason for this catastrophe. One of the biggest culprits is fast fashion. The system of rapid production that creates low-cost clothing, increasingly treated as disposable. Without reform, the fashion industry could be responsible for a quarter of the Earth's carbon budget by 2050. Now, influencers are the ones who promote the consumption of fast fashion the most, but they are also the same group who can stop it from escalating. To begin, Instagram influencers need to do more than just post the odd positive message about vintage or recycled fiber. The influencers must become activists and take on the brands and habits plundering the planet. Instead, we have influencers who do weekly hauls from their favorite fast fashion stores, Zara, H&M, Fashion Nova, and they post YouTube videos and Instagram posts showing off their hobby of buying clothing that isn't meant to last long. The way followers are most attracted to excessive buying through stores is not just because they are stores that are most accessible, but also because these stores are the first to replicate and dupe higher fashion trends, especially those of our favorite celebrities. However, trends die quickly, and with that comes waste. Clothing produced by fast fashion brands are oftentimes made from cheap materials like polyester and acrylic, and not built to last. The average American throws away 80 pounds of clothing every year. We've been conditioned to believe that buying a garment and wearing it once is justifiable. Like I said before, it's normalization. It's not. The one mark that attracts consumers to fast fashion is its affordability. It should concern consumers though, just how cheap a garment can be. There are ethical implications with affordability. The majority of these garments are produced in countries like China, India, and Bangladesh, where workers undergo extremely poor work conditions. Over 50% of clothing manufacturer workers are not paid minimum wage, and when they are, men are more likely to be paid minimum wage over women and children. Work conditions in sweatshops are poor, and workers are exposed to high chances of injury and mistreatment. We need to think twice before falling for the affordable price tags. We need to think twice before we allow another Instagrammer to influence us with their feeds saturated with cheap and trendy clothing. So, what can be done? One idea is to have influencers abide by the code of ethics, similar to those journalists work under. They could pledge to never use bots in order to artificially augment their traffic and reach, and promise to ensure sponsored content is clearly labeled as such. They could also promise to promote only sustainable products and clothing, and make sure to never fake themselves for unreal standards that can be achieved by regular people. But will these promises work? Or are we doomed for an eternity of technology that is infested with issues that keep making it into the real world? Social media is a major part of our lives, and when used responsibly can be a very positive experience. We just need to use our social platforms to bring awareness to political and environmental issues around the world. Jot down how much time you spend on the internet. Use your phone's screen time to your advantage. You buy things you need, not that you want. And most importantly, don't focus on the superficial things.